In the heart of Atlanta's sweltering summer night, where the humid air clings to your skin like a guilty secret and the distant wail of sirens echoes the city's unspoken tensions, imagine this. A lone black woman, her back against the cold brick wall of an alley, surrounded by flashing blue lights and the menacing silhouettes of cops with hands hovering over their holsters. But just as the noose of injustice tightens, her loyal military-trained dogs emerge from the shadows, their eyes gleaming with unyielding ferocity, freezing the officers in their tracks and flipping the script on a system rigged against her. If that grips you like a vice, because in a world where headlines scream division and justice feels like a distant dream, this story will shake you to your core. Hit that subscribe button right now, USA and UK fam, because stories like this don't just entertain, they ignite change. And by subscribing, you're joining a movement that amplifies voices too often silenced. Don't miss out, subscribe, and turn on notifications to never skip a beat. The sun dipped low over the sprawling suburbs of Atlanta, casting long shadows that danced like specters across the cracked asphalt of Elmwood Drive. Jasmine Reed, a 32-year-old black woman with a doctorate in veterinary science and a history etched in the scars of systemic bias, gripped the steering wheel of her weathered Jeep Cherokee. She had just finished a grueling 12-hour shift at the local animal shelter, where she specialized in rehabilitating retired military dogs, canines that had seen the horrors of war zones in Afghanistan and Iraq, now finding peace under her gentle yet firm guidance. Her two companions, Ajax and Athena, both massive German shepherds with coats as dark as midnight and muscles rippling like coiled springs, lounged in the back seat. Ajax, the older of the two at 7 years, had lost an eye to shrapnel but gained an unbreakable loyalty. Athena, 5 and fierce, could detect explosives from 100 yards away. Jasmine's life was a tapestry of quiet triumphs. Raised in the foster system after her parents' tragic car accident when she was 8, she had clawed her way through scholarships and night classes to become one of the few black women in her field. But tonight, as she turned onto the interstate ramp, the weight of exhaustion pressed down, and she didn't notice the patrol car tailing her until its lights flared to life. The siren pierced the evening hush like a knife, and Jasmine's heart skipped. She pulled over promptly, her hands visible on the dashboard as she'd been taught, lessons drilled into her by a community wary of encounters that too often turned fatal. The officer, a burly white man in his 40s with a mustache that screamed authority and eyes narrowed in suspicion, approached with a swagger. License and registration. He barked, his flashlight beam slicing through the dim interior. Jasmine complied, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. "Officer, was I speeding? I don't think I was." He ignored her, scanning the documents with exaggerated slowness. Backup arrived swiftly. 2 more cruisers, lights swirling in a chaotic ballet. 3 more officers emerged. Another white man, younger and twitchy, a Hispanic officer who hung back, his expression unreadable, and a black cop broad-shouldered and silent, perhaps hoping to de-escalate. But the lead officer, Sergeant Harlan Crow, as his badge read, wasn't in a talking mood. "Step out of the vehicle, ma'am," he ordered, his tone laced with that familiar undercurrent of disdain. Jasmine's mind raced. She knew the statistics. Black drivers pulled over at disproportionate rates, searches conducted without cause, escalations born from prejudice. But she had nothing to hide. Her Jeep was clean, her record spotless save for a parking ticket from college. As she opened the door, Ajax and Athena stirred, low growls rumbling from their throats. "Easy, boys," she whispered, but the officers tensed. "You got dogs in there? Control them, or we'll have to take measures." Crow snarled, his hand drifting to his taser. The younger officer, Deputy Ellis, chimed in with a smirk. "Big dogs for a little lady." "What? You running some kind of operation?" The implication hung heavy. Drugs, perhaps, or something illicit. Jasmine's blood boiled, but she kept her cool. They're service animals, retired military, trained for protection. The black officer, Lieutenant Marcus Hale, finally spoke up. "Let's keep this civil, folks." "Ma'am, why don't you explain?" But Crow shot him a glare that silenced him. As Jasmine stepped out, The officers formed a semicircle, their bodies blocking her path back to the jeep. Crow's questions came rapid fire. Where was she coming from? Why so late? Any weapons? She answered truthfully, but his skepticism grew. Pop the trunk, he demanded. No warrant in sight. Jasmine hesitated. Do you have probable cause, sir? That was her mistake, or perhaps her stand. Crow's face reddened. You questioning me? That's resisting. He grabbed her arm, twisting it behind her back with unnecessary force. Pain shot through her shoulder, and she cried out. In that instant, chaos erupted. Ajax and Athena, sensing their handler's distress through the open door, leaped out like shadows come alive. Their barks echoed like thunder, teeth bared in a display of raw power. The officers froze, Crow mid-cuff, Ellis reaching for his gun, the Hispanic deputy stumbling back. Only Hale remained composed, his hands raised. Whoa, easy. Those are K9s, military grade. The dogs positioned themselves between Jasmine and the cops. Ajax's single eye locked on Crow with an intensity that could curdle blood. Athena circled slightly, her hackles raised, a low growl vibrating the air. These weren't pets. They were warriors, conditioned by years of Special Forces training to protect at all costs. Jasmine, rubbing her arm, commanded softly, "Stand down, but guard." The dogs obeyed, holding their ground without advancing. But their presence was a wall of intimidation. Crow, sweat beading on his forehead, stammered, "Call 'em off, or I'll shoot." But his voice cracked, betraying fear. Ellis whispered hoarsely, "Sarge, those look like the ones from the base, explosive detection dogs. We can't just." Hale stepped forward cautiously. "Ma'am, are these from Fort Benning? I served 82nd Airborne. These pups saved my unit once." Jasmine nodded, her voice gaining strength. "Yes, Lieutenant. Ajax here took down 3 insurgents in Kandahar." Athena sniffed out IEDs that would have wiped out a convoy. The revelation hung in the air, shifting the dynamic. Crow, still defiant, radioed for animal control, but Hale intervened. "Hold up, Sarge. This smells off. No reason for the stop." The tension thickened as bystanders gathered, phones out, filming the standoff. Whispers rippled. Racist cop said again, "Look at those dogs, heroes protecting a hero." Jasmine's mind flashed back to her childhood. Foster homes where she was the only black kid, teachers who dismissed her potential, the subtle and overt slights that forged her resilience. But now, with Ajax and Athena at her side, she felt empowered, the tables turning in real time. As minutes stretched, a supervisor arrived, Captain Elena Vargas, a no-nonsense Latina with a reputation for fairness. She assessed the scene. The encircled woman, the frozen officers, the imposing dogs. "What the hell is going on here?" she demanded. Crow spun his tail. Suspicious vehicle, evasive driver. But Jasmine countered calmly, her voice amplified by the growing crowd. "I was pulled over for nothing. He manhandled me without cause." Vargas ordered body cams reviewed on the spot. The footage revealed the truth. No infraction, just a hunch based on what? The neighborhood? Her race? Whispers of driving while black murmured through the onlookers. Vargas sighed. "Stand down, everyone. Ma'am, you're free to go." "Sergeant, my office now." But the story didn't end there. Oh no, this was just the ignition. As Jasmine drove away, Ajax and Athena settling back with satisfied pants, she couldn't shake the adrenaline. That night, she uploaded the bystander video to social media, tagging local news and civil rights groups. By morning, it went viral. Millions of views, hashtags like hashtag military dog save the day and hashtag in police bias trending. Reporters swarmed her shelter, turning her quiet life into a media storm. Interviews on CNN, BBC, USA, and UK audiences captivated by the tale of a black woman and her canine guardians flipping the script on injustice. But fame brought shadows. Anonymous threats arrived. "Watch your back, bitch. Those mutts won't always be there." Jasmine fortified her home, installing cameras, but the dogs were her true shield. Enter the twist. Among the supporters was a mysterious donor,